Come on, man! This is what happens when you have to wear a mask for 8 hours a day. This dent will not go away! I know what to do! I will cast Beautifulliest Beard! Fuck! Yo, what is happening, you shifty furbolgs? Galactic Criminal here, and today we've got Behind the Roll, the people of Critical Role, a sort of documentary. Now, long story short, this happened upon my YouTube recommended feed. I thought this would be really cool to react to, so I reached out to the creator and asked them if it would be cool if I reacted to it. They responded after some time saying, yeah, we would love some feedback. But then I thought, this is kind of long, no one's gonna want to watch this. But then I also thought, I've always prided myself on doing reactions to things regardless of whether I believe they will get views or not. So I figure, fuck it. And I'm probably gonna cry. Just an FYI. Let us dig in behind the roll with 1, 2. I lost count. Okay. You're welcome. This is really pretty! Happy Friday! Let's go! See what you got! Wow!
And because I guess they heard about the game, they knew that I run it. They didn't know who all was in the game, and they're like, yeah, like we're really trying to get the D&D crowd. Like right now we have our show Spooks, and like one of the guys in the crew one of the cast keeps talking about how he keeps trying to get one of our other castmates, Ashley, to get into her D&D game, and I'm like, Ashley Johnson, yeah, I know, she's in the game. They're like, oh, like, and Sam Eagle, I worked on Fetch Fest with you guys. Like, oh, so you're keeping it in the family. Yeah.
I had not really known Liam or Laura or Travis or Sam before this game. I mean, I still feel like I don't belong in a lot of ways. And so like at that time, especially all these interactions, I kept thinking, I'm wearing it on my face. Everyone knows this kid's the fraud. Why is he here? And Liam O'Brien, I didn't meet until I began working on Resident Evil 6. And even we were talking one day between, like on our break, I mentioned that I was playing D&D the night before for a session I was running. He's like, you play Dungeons and Dragons. And so we got in this conversation where all of a sudden he opened up about like his love of Dragonlance as a kid and how he wanted to play again, but it's been so long. And that was like our first real friendship connection at that point. He was just my director, but that moment we became friends.
You had something you could connect on.
And so we kept talking about D&D over and over again at our break time during this game. And, his birthday was coming up and I was like, dude, I'll be happy to run a game for you sometime. Like for your birthday. And it's kind of like, I'll run you a one shot. How about that? He's like, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. It's just things busy. I got kids, the whole thing. But thank you, I appreciate that. I'm like, all right, fine. And so it wasn't until a while later that he and Sam had this did their podcast I didn't know anything about. He didn't tell me this was the reason they were doing it.
Right.
He just called me up and was like, hey, a while back you said you did me one shot for my birthday? Then let's do it.
I don't know. I just expected it to be a lark, right? Just us to have some beers and laugh at each other, which did happen. But I remember the way it looked and smelled that night. I also remember how much fun we were having and looking around at the people in the room with me and going like, I can't believe that these cool people agreed to come here and do this ridiculous thing, and holy shit, that guy is good at this.
There was some magic to it. I don't know if it was the collection of people or the characters that we were playing. It was probably Matt. It was probably Matt was just so fucking good.
Yeah.
That we were like, imagine if Matt Mercer was your first dungeon master ever.
But I didn't know anything about it, and then
I'm already
being around
getting
Yuri
emotional.
Lowenthal and Matt Mercer and other people, and hearing Zach Hanks and just other folks that had played, I was like, so you play like now? And he's like, yeah. I was like, what do you do? And he's like, we show up for a few hours, we have some food, we have some drinks, and we roll some dice, and we play D&D. And I was like, could I come like watch?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you don't want to watch it. Nobody watches D&D. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you want to come play?
The very first game that they played, or because I didn't know about the first game.
Yeah.
And then I think Travis or Laura had talked to me and they were like, you gotta come play. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up going to the second game that they played. And I just remember I talked to Matt before and I was emailing with him and he's like, here's what's left. I'll play a cleric because, I don't know, I'll just give this a try. And I was like, I'll be a gnome, I don't know, because that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I went to the game and everybody was like doing voices and character and I was like, oh shit, okay. And I was hooked.
Fires.
Oh god! The ringing of the blast echoes throughout the chamber. It blends with another lurch as you have another piece of rock come slamming into the platform. As the turquoise crystal shatters, the platform just drops into free fall.
It was magic. I could not have predicted the end result, but it was magic. And I went home that night going, phew, on my own. Like, everyone knows how tight we are. We were close friends, but we weren't the family that we are now.
Yeah.
And I remember going home going, man, that was so good. That's the most fun that's the most fun I've had in a long time. I want to do that again.
And so we did another session. Then Ashley came in. I'd never met Ashley before either. And I was a fan of her work on Last of Us. And was like, oh yeah, sure, okay, I'll make a character. Don't make a fool of yourself, Matt. Right. And it just kind of went from there. And we just kept playing. We kept scheduling the next session. And it kept kind of expanding the world. And it was exciting to consider that these people that I looked up to, that were so fresh to this experience, wanted to keep playing. I just fell in love with each of them. Like, maybe if they went from being these strangers that I hoped to provide a good time for to becoming my family. Like, we became so close, and I'm so thankful for all the time that we got to build up in this and have our Mimosa Sundays playing at Lord Travis's house, or rushing everyone over to our tiny apartment again to play.
How do you want to do this?
Just watching all the pretenses of industry and business fall away. And in this space, we were just a bunch of doofy people making things up, rolling dice, and just enjoying a good, 6-8 hour weekend day together before going back to the rest of our responsibilities.
Hey, is everything okay? We're back at the house. We're a little curious. Yeah.
You have too much power with this spell.
It's the last 6 words.
It was a good fit. I mean, these people are all my best friends now, but at the time, I was so intimidated.
I bet.
Because it was like, soon-to-be BAFTA award-winning Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey, queen of VO and video games, and Liam O'Brien, voice of Illidan. So part of the reason that I made Keyleth kind of an introverted, fumbly, put her foot in her mouth type of character was because I was like, well, I might just do that a few times.
I am sure that in finding flaws in the characters that I am portraying, I am so looking at my own flaws and trying to figure them out. Scanlan was like a character that was very life of the party also, but had a lot of demons and a lot of insecurities and
Yep.
stuff. And
Yep.
there's definitely some of that in me. And the character I'm playing now, is really timid and shy and skittish and nervous about things. And there's definitely a lot of that, buried beneath my super handsome, ripped facade.
But then with like Molly was never going to change. That was not a character looking for anything. That was a character who Percy was Iron Man. Mm-hmm. He was like, I'm a fuck up. I need to find some resolution to myself. Molly was Captain America, which was that the world is going to have to resolve itself around me.
Right.
I'm never going to change. This is not what Captain America does. Captain America forces the world to contort around him until it breaks.
I like to keep it on me.
Can you not walk without it or something?
She has
Is
a
it
really
just-
bad limp.
I just, sometimes like I get like a little twinge, like a little disc issue.
Can you hand me your stuff so I can watch this? I want to see this limp of yours. Purely for my own entertainment.
Are you patronizing me, Molly Mock?
No, I'm hoping that you're going to patronize us.
For me, coming from a background of not playing it very much, pick something or choose something that's going to be slightly comfortable in the beginning. I didn't know shit about D&D, and when I looked at the magic classes for that first campaign, I couldn't think of anything more terrifying than all those spells.
Yeah.
So give me an axe, make me big, let me be dumb, so that when I make a mistake, it's not as obvious, and I'll just hit shit. And they're like, we need a tank that goes in and takes the damage. You're gonna get hit a lot. And I was like, fine, great, cool. I'm not precious with that character, and that was a very simple, rigid skeleton.
What was important to you about Vex? What were the important sort of tentpoles for you of going like, I kind of want her to be, obviously you said you wanted her to be hot.
Yep.
When you were talking
Obviously.
about,
Oh, yeah.
Personality-wise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to be strong and snarky and confident and hot.
Yeah.
And really, that was pretty much it when we started.
All those
Were
things.
those the characteristics you identified with in characters that you played in video games? or
Yeah,
that you
that's
read
how
and
those were like the
liked?
options that I would always choose. Like
Yeah.
like I said, the anti-hero. I went with that like renegade sort of option where, you say something shitty but you do the right thing. That's what I wanted her to be like.
Because I think faults are what make people interesting. And
Yep.
the reason why I love acting so much is because it's just such a deep study of the human condition.
Right.
And D&D almost tops that in a weird way. What's been fascinating me seeing the difference between Bo and Keyleth are some people who loved Keyleth can't stand Bo, and vice versa.
Really?
Much more the latter. I think much more people hated Keyleth but love Bo. And I actually do find that fascinating because
It is.
Bo is
Why?
arguably more of a shit kicker
Yeah.
and more of a selfish person.
Yeah.
Whereas Keyleth was just trying to do the best that she thought she could.
She was earnest.
Yes.
She was very earnest.
So earnest, but just trying to do good under the worst circumstances. Bo has a little bit more confidence, a little bit more of that cocky, surefire attitude.
Yeah, she
but
does.
is kind of way more of a shittier person. And people fucking love that about Bo. They love that.
And that's why I think the game and art and storytelling is so important, because we are processing our lives. People have always wanted stories. People need stories. It's essential to understand themselves. It's when you're reading a story, you're really just considering how it reflects back on you. How is that similar to my experience?
As we played and you start seeing what the other characters are and how they relate to you, then you start like slapping more clay. And even, I don't think anybody was more surprised than I was at the sort of like characteristics that he would start to show, like loyalty and protective, qualities, and really having the sense of honor, even though he's a complete moron. And that was really, I loved him so much because it was so freeing just to turn off all those filters that you've accumulated over 30 plus years and just be like this raw, exposed nerve that, can affect and be affected by so many things.
It's such an intense feeling of gratitude for the people that have watched and have been with us along the way and have been responsible for getting us to this place. And just all the hard work that like everybody here does.
Wow.
I can't wait to see even more where this goes. And I can't wait to sort of jump in and be even more a part of it. Because it's been weird watching it a little bit from afar, being involved, but also leaving when it's
sucks.
happening and and jumping back into the table. It's
Shut up!
Weird.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's harder than a lot of people think, because it's a group of people that play every week, and they are fine-tuning their role-playing skills. And then I hop in, and I'm like, I don't know what the I'm doing.
Her hair dark and fading to white. Last seen fleeing into the distant fields. You see, in chains as well, Yasha being pulled into the courtroom.
Showing up just to get arrested.
Stepping into the light, you see the familiar and somewhat surprised face of Yasha. Actually, if you want to jump over, if you don't mind.
Playing a character over that long amount of time, how do you still create parts and bring out more of their personality? Doesn't it feel like after 2 years you've sort of explored everything you can? How do you
Do you
keep
feel
it
like
alive?
after 2 years of being you that you've explored every aspect of yourself?
I felt that way around 4. I felt that way around 4 years old, and I've felt that way since.
No, I feel like
but that's an interesting perspective.
It's just your person, right?
Yeah.
Game. There's always something new. That's why if somebody says this is out of character, that's not something you would do. I don't believe that, because I do spontaneous things that somebody wouldn't expect. You know? And it just all it does is introduce a different aspect of myself and go, oh my God, I can do that.
Life is long and strange, and I keep saying yes to things. I don't know.
But you seem happy with those choices.
They're choices.
Yeah.
Choices are way better than not choosing. Not choosing just means that you're at the whims of circumstance.
Maybe I'm playing it too safe. Like half of the game could really be exploring like the risk and the emotions of that. So I put in a little bit more stuff that has to do with me, and it's going to lean into things that do require more of a risk, and I don't know how it's going to go. Make it comfortable in the beginning so that when the opportunity to roll the dice comes around, I can go for it.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that I don't like in sports and in D&D is when people can play it safe.
Yeah.
It's so boring, right?
Yeah.
Boring to be a part of, boring to watch.
Yeah.
Especially in a game where, let's be honest, if a character dies, it's going to some things up for you and for other people.
seen.
Yeah.
As you've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a game, right? And if the opposite side of that coin is something that you will never forget, isn't it worth that chance,
Yeah.
right? Because in life, it's so hard. Life is precious, right? And there are a different set of rules and standards.
Reckless. Natural 20!
That's fucking ridiculous. Look at that shit.
86.
How do you want to do this?
I'm just such a deep believer in what Dungeons & Dragons and, at the end of the day, storytelling can be. And that's why I love this little show. It's the stories behind the storytellers. Like, what everyone is still doing on the show is still just telling stories. And those stories can deeply impact people. There are certain shows that we watch all the time that I like to call Cheese Whiz for the brain, where it's just, it's not meant, don't think too deep about it.
Right.
It ain't that deep. And that can totally change someone's life who's maybe had a terrible day or a terrible week to just be like, oh, thank God this is something that's not gonna weigh on my brain like a lead balloon.
The guard's just looking at you, flail in the air, and is like,
The ruby of the sea.
we would all know. The only person that sees it is Vex.
It doesn't matter. We would all
Vex. You watch his kills. Poof. No. And just like, it's a scatter of red mess, and you just see her floating in the water.
I know! I dropped it 200 floors up!
It filled something in me that I feel like nothing has been able to sort of fill that, whatever that is. And it's crazy to say that it's Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I know, but it's true. Everybody said the same thing in your chair.
Yeah, it's the I think because it's community based, and I feel like a lot of people in this community, and even people that we meet at cons or things like that, where we're all the same. Like we're all people that are kind of like have a lot of shit that, you know, we're all like a little introverted and a little weird, and we get in this world and we're like, oh, this is where we're comfortable.
We're very conscious that we have an audience now. There's no denying it, and it's part of the energy that makes it such a thrill to do. But we're still playing this game for ourselves, and I'm not tailoring what I'm doing for anybody. I'm playing this game the way that I want to play this game and do things that I find interesting and gratifying and challenging to myself. So it was a great surprise and humbling to hear from people having the reaction they did to it.
It's much easier to react in character when you're, you know. But, you know, that's, I don't know, that might be a lie. Because that was always one of my favorite things anyway about theater or anything is the reaction. You know, so I know a lot of actors that just, it's that joke of bullshit, bullshit, my line, bullshit, bullshit, my line. And they don't ever have anything going on outside of, this is my motivation and this is why I'm doing something. And they don't think about, you know, we're having a conversation and you've got to react to that. If you do something spontaneous, I'm going to do something to react to that. It's going to change my performance.
Right.
And if it doesn't change your performance, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
People who I could be friends with, who get me and who also perform, an opportunity to make people laugh, to play different characters, to tell a weird, cool story. Like it's everything all at the same time. It was the best job.
You couldn't have known going into it that it was going to scratch all of those itches and cover all those bases of the stuff that you really loved until you experienced it.
No, it was an epiphany. It was one of those light bulb moments where like, at least for me, you know, there's no going back. Like, I've had that experience. I want more of that forever. So it was great. It was a great night, and it's led to so many more weird, great, sad nights and happy nights.
And that's why I love being the GM. You know, the DM for me, it's a gift. Like it's in my small way that I can say thank you for putting your time into this. Thank you for putting your interest in whatever I'm capable of doing, and giving, you know, being respectful of this thing that we're doing together. Let me try and provide something that's long lasting and important to you. And that to me is a very deeply, like, soulfully fulfilling experience.
Yeah, it was.
Let's do it again.
From the top.
Yeah.
No!
Thank you so much for joining us. We love you very much. And it's a Thursday. Good night.
But I was just a bystander. I was walking down here and I saw these two ruffians, and I was going to go get help.
Actually, truly, he wasn't with us.
0.
Take them by the cheeks. Can you feel this?
Yeah.
You can. Can you feel this?
Does it taste good?
Do you recommend it?
A mighty 7.
And 9. We lost 2 in the sewers.
You have a good memory.
Well, you know, not all crabgrass is as cool as me. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Jester. Do you have a name?
I don't think so. You want to give me one?
Yeah. Henry.
I'm Henry. Henry Crabgrass.
Henry Crabgrass. And I'll pet Henry.
Consent, please.
Oh, may I pet you?
Yes, you may. I mean, just stick around. It's nice to have someone to talk to.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Tell you what, we'll stick around for at least 10 more minutes.
I'll take it.
All right.
Yo. I am a mess. I am an absolute fucking mess. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. The second I saw the thumbnail for this in my YouTube recommended, I thought, there's no way I don't fucking cry like a fucking baby to this shit. Man, I'm so glad I decided to do this anyway. Wow, I need a moment to compose myself. I have thoughts. So before I get into my spiel, I gotta say this was expertly edited. This was absolutely incredible. It actually kind of has me kind of bummed because the folks at Critical Role deleted a whole lot of their content, including a lot of the Between the Sheets interviews hosted by Brian Foster, who, if you don't know, was accused of some pretty serious fucking shit against Ashley Johnson. And so I guess they deleted a bunch of the content that he was like mainly featured in. And it bums me out because I only ever saw the Between the Sheets with Matt. And I kept putting off, and forgetting, putting off, ADHD, object permanence, forgetting to check out Between the Sheets with all the other personalities from the show, and now they don't exist anymore, right? So I was seeing a lot of the footage from Between the Sheets interviews in this documentary for the very first time. I'm still choked up. I still want to cry, and I'll get into that and exactly why. I never really said this on my channel before, but my introduction to D&D was a long-standing one, I guess, whatever the terminology you want to choose for that is. I always heard about D&D. I never knew anything really about it. And then one of my favorite YouTube creator channels, whatever you want to call it, Achievement Hunter, they came out with a Dungeons & Dragons podcast, a live play podcast. And I was watching it, and at a point, I was watching it just because I liked those personalities, because I liked that channel. I didn't know why I was watching, and at a point, I just stopped watching. And then I'd also heard about Critical Role over and over again in the circles of the YouTube channels and stuff that I watch. I'd heard about Critical Role, but I never checked it out. And then 2020 happens, COVID happens, and I was looking for something to check out when I go to bed. When I go to bed, I like to listen to something to help me fall asleep, a podcast, something. I was like, I'll give Critical Role a shot. So I went and checked out their first campaign. And I was like, oh, the audio sucks on YouTube. Can't really hear it. I'll treat them like a band that I've checked out before. I'll check out their most recent stuff. And it just so happens that they were pretty much almost at the end of campaign 2 when I jumped in. And first episode of campaign 2, I was hooked. I was immediately hooked. Like 30 minutes into the fucking thing, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is what I was missing from the Achievement Hunter Dungeons and Dragons. Because the Achievement Hunter one, all the people playing were they weren't role playing. They were just being themselves, and they didn't really know how to play every episode. They forgot what to roll and all that kind of shit. And the DM was, I'll be honest, kind of boring. Didn't really explain things very well, didn't do voices or anything. And then you get Matthew Mercer, an exemplary storyteller. This man is a fucking genius. Everybody fucking knows that shit. And so he's explaining everything so intricately and cool. And his NPCs are amazing. Pumat Sol is my fucking soulmate. I fucking love when they introduced Pumat Sol for the first time. The way that the cast reacted to that was incredible to me, and I reacted the same as them, if not more exuberantly, because it was just so cool. All of the fucking side characters were great, and then I got to the end of campaign 2. I went back to campaign 1 and I watched all of that, and I've been following with them since then with campaign 3. Campaign 3 has been kind of a little bit for me, to be totally honest. But I love the characters. I love Fern. She's so chaotic. The chaotic characters are my fucking jam. And Jester. Jester is so amazing. The greatest love story ever told, Ford and Jester. I even got the Wormwood dice tray with Ford and Jester on it. If I think about it, I'll pop it up here in the in the video of that on my wall. I've only rolled on it once because I don't want to ruin it. And I've also ordered a Sideshow Collectibles statue of Jester, which is supposed to come next month, I believe. I was just so addicted to it incredibly fast. And right away, I got fucking dice and everything. I got fucking Critical Role, the Traveler fucking dice in the bag and shit. Like fucking immediately engaged and addicted to Dungeons and Dragons. And I'll be honest, at this point, I still have never played a game of Dungeons and Dragons. I've had a couple opportunities kind of come to me and then kind of, fell off or whatever. But I want to play so bad. It's such a cool and interesting thing to me personally. It's like you're able to act for your friends and make stupid jokes. And gamble without any real monetary stakes, except for your character maybe dying. I don't know what kind of character I'd play. I thought about being a big motherfucker with a huge voice. I thought about being a skinny guy with a Joker voice, kind of thing. I'm gonna steal his coin purse, steal it from under his nose. I don't know. That would be really cool. This was such, I believe, an amazing decision, in my personal opinion, to actually check this out. Yeah, I've had a couple of beers. Fucking get over it. Oh, that was a ride that I will probably go on a couple more times. I will probably watch this a couple more times, seeing some of that behind the scenes. I've seen a couple of clips here on TikTok and whatsoever of behind the scenes of the early days of them, doing the doing their game in just their home by themselves and not for camera. But just seeing that was immediately emotional. Immediately emotional. I don't want to say I have a parasocial relationship with these people, but I kind of do at the same time. It tends to happen with people that are kind of open with their emotions and their personality when it comes to digital media. It happens a lot more than a lot of people would think. But yeah, this was really good. Edited amazingly. The music was choice, absolute choice, because it just choked me up that much more. He did an absolutely amazing job. I couldn't be happier with how that turned out. So yeah, that's me. Anybody want me to join their D&D game? comment down below. Of course, there'll be a link in the description for this video so you can go and watch it for yourself, full screen, full audio, and get the full experience. And as always, have yourself a fantastic evening.